excellent.
I would think to myself, how could it be Monday all over again? Was the weekend already over? I would pull into the parking lot where I work, I would shut off the car, and I would lay my head against the steering wheel. I would take a deep breath, give myself a "you can do this," and then make my way into work. And then, like many of you, this was my existence for many, many years. And you may be thinking, I bet he never even liked his job, or I bet it was a bad job anyway. Well, the truth is, it was actually my dream job. It was the job that at one time I really couldn't believe that I had. I loved the place, I loved the people, I loved the job description, and at one time I would arrive early in that same parking lot, just pinching myself in disbelief that it was actually the job that I was hired to do. So the obvious question is, what changed? How did it go from "I can't wait to do this again" to "I never want to do this again"? You see, I didn't change and the people didn't change. My job description didn't change. The building didn't change. So what was it? Well, the answer is simple, but it's powerful. There was a negative change in what I believe to be the most important factor in an organization. The culture changed. Today, we talk about the business of building a company culture, why it's important, how to establish it, and how to maintain it. Welcome to the Mind Your Business podcast, the podcast for whatever business is on your mind. Let's get started.
Well, that's excellent.
Well, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Mind Your Business podcast. Hey, if this brings value to your life, will you do me a favor? Will you like, subscribe, share this with others, or even leave a review? I just want to add as much value to as many people as possible. 77% of employees currently say they hate their job. We talk about that a lot here. This is a good indicator that the cultures within our companies are actually broken. When you consider that we spend a third of our lives working, that means at least 77% of people spend a third of their lives miserable. This is a foundational reason that company culture is so important. The truth is, no one even argues this point. In one survey, 90% of managers said a candidate's fit with the organization is equal to or more important than their skills and experience. So basically, how well does the candidate fit in our company culture? Potential employees said the exact same thing. More than 1/3 of workers would actually pass on the perfect job if the culture wasn't a good match for them. A healthy company culture, it's crucial. It's important to note that every aspect of your life has its own culture. It's not just in the place of employment. So your family has a culture, your friend group has a culture, your church has a culture, your kid's ball team has a culture. Now, although today I'll speak through the lens of our organizations, I want you to know that these principles that we discuss, they'll apply to every environment that's in your life. So culture, regardless of the setting, it's just simply a shared set of values, attitudes, or behavior standards that make up an environment. So through this discussion, it may be becoming clear already that the issues that you're having, maybe it just comes down to culture. Meaning that you're finding that the issues within or with the values, behaviors, or the standards, the practices that we mentioned in the environments that you're in, that really it's coming down to issues in those key areas. So for clarity, let me just offer a few common elements that you may find in your organization that reveal a negative culture. Here's what people are commenting. One is poor communication. Poor communication lends itself to a bad company culture because people live, work, and exist in confusion, dismissing concerns and ideas. When someone comes to you or when you take a concern to someone who's an authority above you and those concerns are diminished or dismissed as unimportant. This is another one. Leadership is always unavailable. It's an environment where it's a closed door policy. It's hard to get to someone who's a decision maker. It's hard to get to someone who can change the environment or the culture. Another one is ignoring achievements. We'll talk about this later on in our discussion. But ignoring the achievements or the milestones, the markers of success that everyone has been working toward. Micromanaging is another one. People don't like to be micromanaged. They want to be empowered. They want to feel like that they have been set up for success to achieve and do on their own. Another is singling out employees in a negative way, excluding certain people on the team, and there are so many others. These are just to name a few. So today, I want us to do something about it. I don't want to just talk about it or complain. This is the podcast where we find solutions to the problems that we have. So how do we establish a healthy company culture? I believe there are three main categories or three main ingredients, three main ways, and every single organization has these, but few, I think, actually employ them. You've heard of these before, but let's discuss them again and remind ourselves of the importance. So here are these ingredients. The first is this: every company has a vision statement. A vision statement helps everyone understand what the main goal is. This is what the organization hopes to achieve. It's the destiny that they are creating. For example, early on, Microsoft's vision statement was a computer on every desk in every home. In other words, our vision as Microsoft is a world where everyone has a personal computer. Now today, a computer is on every desk and in every home and is very commonplace. They are packed into the phones that we carry around, but at this time, their vision had almost seemed unthinkable. However, it clearly defined why they existed and what they were aiming to achieve. This brought purpose and it brought unity to everyone who was building each day as they worked. On October 1st, 1971, 5 years after Walt Disney passed away, Disney World had its grand opening. And during the dedication ceremony, someone turned to Miss Disney and said, "Isn't it a shame that Walt didn't get to see this?" And her response is something that is so powerful when she says, "He did see it, and that's why it's here." You see, Walt Disney could see the future of Disney. He then inspired everyone around him to focus their efforts on making it come to life. Everyone shared the common purpose and the passion of making a dream become a reality. Imagine what would happen if everyone in your organization, in your environment, or on your team understood and shared the vision of what they were working toward. You see, as an owner, a manager, an employer, or even as an employee, is your vision clearly defined, and is everyone unified around seeing that vision become a reality? The second ingredient that I want to give you is that everyone has a mission statement. You'll find a mission statement in every organization. This is very fundamental. Now, if a vision statement communicates the future, a mission statement communicates the present. It's how a statement that gives clarity. It's clarity giving to the vision that you have. It's a statement that gives how you're going to work to make your vision a reality. It's one thing to see it. It's one thing to have a vision, but you have to know how you're going to make it become a reality. For example, Walmart's vision statement is this: it's to be the destination for customers to save money, no matter how they want to shop. And their mission statement is to save people money so that they can live better. So how do they achieve their vision? They do it by doing the daily mission of saving people money. I think many feel unfulfilled by their place of employment simply because there's no feeling of significance or purpose. But when you show up to a place every day that has a clear mission to it, it gives you purpose behind what you're doing. When you know that the part that you play in your organization is a part of something bigger than yourself and that it's making a difference, it changes the way that you see the work that you do. Many of us can't see the vision because we don't know the mission. This causes us only to see the tasks that are right in front of us. And we hate doing tasks, don't we? We hate showing up doing something that's mundane every single day. If you or your team or your organization is only working daily tasks, they'll never find fulfillment and your culture will never be healthy. It's understanding the why behind the what. We talk about that a lot on this podcast. Do you know the why behind what you do? For example, my family and I recently camped at a Sun Outdoors property, and we had a great experience. The staff worked really hard in just making sure that everything on the property was excellent. And on the day that we were leaving, I actually noticed an older gentleman who was changing the garbage. And so I just stopped by to thank him for his work. And I explained that my family and I had had a wonderful week camping together and that the excellence of the property had contributed to our experience. I told him that his hard work had been a blessing to our family. You see, he knew he wasn't just changing the garbage. He wasn't just cleaning a bathroom or any other task that he was assigned to do on that property. He was aware that his mission was to provide an atmosphere of excellence for families to make memories. The mission of your organization is vitally important to your culture. The third thing I'll give you is values. Every organization has values. Values are the fundamental beliefs and principles that guide your organization. Values are what help to shape your company's culture. These bring life to it. It puts structure around it. Values are important because these are the ways that everyone in your organization agree to work together. Values help keep everything in your organization in alignment. It brings clarity to what we will or we will not do, helping to just simply reinforce the mission that we're working on in order to achieve the vision of what we see. They all work together. For example, I mentioned camping with my family at Sun Outdoors. And so I just took a moment because of the excellence of the experience that we had, and I wanted to take a look at their values. And these are some of the values of Sun Outdoors. The first one that they said is to live the golden rule, to treat others the way that you want to be treated. Think about that. To show up every day as a team, as an organization, as employees and employers, and everyone values treating other people the way that you would want to be treated. They also value doing the right thing. They state that always choosing honesty and integrity in doing the right thing. They say we over me. They understand that they are all better together, that on a team, that working together, that we can accomplish more. I always say it's said there is no I in team. I always disagree with that statement because I believe it's individuals who make up great teams. And when individuals take everything they have and they employ it to make themselves better, collectively coming together as a team, everyone is better. And so Sun Outdoors values that as well. Another they say is mindset is everything. Attitude is important. We talked about this on episode 3 of this podcast, The Business of Better Attitudes. Your attitude is important. Another thing they say that I thought was unique is just keep it simple. Work smarter, not harder. Keep it simple. Let's simplify the complexities of what we do. They have hundreds, if not thousands, of properties across the U.S. of all different kinds. So in order to simplify the work to keep everyone on the main page, they value simplicity. They also value people being themselves. They state to be yourself and thrive. The value of individuals on their team. These values are powerful, and if employed, will guard their culture. No one should feel isolated in their role because they value teamwork. And then bad attitudes don't belong. They have set themselves up with success. They choose to see the glass half full. They treat others well because they want to be treated well. They do the right thing. Can you see how these values are powerful to the culture of an organization? And imagine if you employed values like this in your organization, supporting your mission and leading to your vision. Just talking about these, it makes it seem like they're an exciting organization to be a part of. When you think about what they're doing and how they see things and the environment that they create for all of their team, it makes it exciting, like you want to go work there. And then in our vacation experience, everyone seemed to display all of these values. It was very clear and very evident. So we know that both employers and employees see the value in a company's culture. But how do we implement these? How do we employ all of these elements? Well, I want to offer you 3 important elements to success in order to take these 3 ingredients and make them come alive in your organization. And if you're going to do it, number 1, it takes commitment. If you're going to employ this into your organization, It takes being committed. Leadership must be personally committed to the vision, to the mission, and to the values of your organization. They then have to make decisions guided by these principles. It begins with leadership. In the organization that I lead, I've learned that staying committed to our mission and our vision and our values has been the biggest factor to our success. I can remember in our early days how surprised I was at how often someone tried to change who we were and what we were doing and even the ways in which we were doing it. And then ultimately, they were trying to change the why that we were doing what we were doing. Often it would be even after someone's very first experience with us. And that always amazed me to have a first experience with an organization or a group and then try to rewire their very culture. It still happens today, but I'm just not surprised by it all the time now. There will always be people trying to change what makes your organization unique. And if you're not committed to what made you anyway, if you're not committed to the things we've discussed today, your mission, your vision, and these values, you'll be the proverbial dog just chasing his tail, always going in a circle because you're not moving toward a vision. You'll simply work hard and then you'll accomplish nothing. And then you'll be miserable in the process. I'm so committed to and convicted by my organization's mission that I often say publicly that if our vision doesn't resonate with you or just fire you up, that you're in the wrong organization and you may benefit from being with another. Now, this isn't to say that you won't learn and you won't grow and you won't evolve, but you do this to elevate the reason that you exist as an organization. And then ultimately, this just helps everyone be better. But the question for you to answer is this: are you that committed to the vision of the organization that you're in? Are you so committed to the vision of where you're going that you're willing to communicate that if you do not resonate with this vision of our organization and where we are all going collectively together, then you may benefit from being a part of something different? That's strong commitment to your vision. You have to be committed. Number 2, here's the element that's going to keep you aligning with your mission, vision, and your values, and that is communication. Communication. Communication is so incredibly important. Of all the things that are communicated in your organization, how often are these 3 things? Your mission, your vision, and your values. How often do you communicate? Is it possible that the last time that these elements were actually presented to those in your organization was the day that they were given their employee manual? When they walked in the lobby on the first day and you led them to their cubicle and you said, sit right here, read this manual, brush up on who we are, and then we'll be back in a few moments to fill out the rest of the paperwork. See, I'm sure that it's on a poster in the office somewhere, but how many people actually stop to read it? Regular reminders are like the sticky notes of life. It takes regular reminders for people to remember, know, understand these values. See, reminders create a deep understanding and it communicates importance. It's easy to forget why we're doing what we are doing. So you have to communicate often. Communication are the reminders of why you do what you do and why you exist as an organization. It's easy for the mission to become a task. So a reminder helps to reinforce the vision and what everyone is accomplishing together. Again, in my organization, this is communicated in many different ways. It's written anywhere that someone would read about us online or in any sort of material that you have about us. It's communicated whenever someone begins working in our organization or begins leading or volunteering at any level, anywhere in our organization. These things are communicated. It's communicated in our leadership meetings, in our department meetings, and even to every person in the organization corporately at least once a year. We're constantly reminding everyone of the vision that we're on a mission to accomplish. This just helps keep everyone moving in the same direction, working toward the same goal, and ultimately having fun while we do it. You have to communicate your mission, vision, and values, and you have to communicate often. Another one that I think is big, celebration. If you're listening to or watching this podcast, you're a driven, passionate person. You're wanting to learn, you're wanting to grow, and you're wanting to get better. These are all great qualities, okay? But we can often be so driven that we fail to celebrate our wins. We move on so quickly to the next thing that we miss out on a milestone of achievement. And then ultimately, this really lowers the morale of every person that had a hand in working hard to achieve a goal. Most of our organizations, we set the bar for excellence. We set a standard that says we should be winning, we should be growing, or we should be getting better. It should be normal to be taking steps toward our vision. But this still doesn't change or negate the fact that people still want to be appreciated. They want to be acknowledged and they want to be applauded for their hard work. See, this helps your team see progress that may otherwise go unnoticed. For example, I can very clearly remember in the early days of our organization when we began, it was still very small, and there were just times that it was very easy to feel like a failure. See, what I saw in person didn't even come close to the vision I had of the future. So when we would feel deflated, when we would feel defeated, I started looking at the small wins. And that may have seemed insignificant to others, but suddenly it started giving me life. When I took a moment to look at the small wins, because I couldn't see the big vision, I had to see what was right in front of me. And when I saw those small wins and it encouraged me, I then began to communicate those small wins to our whole organization. And then everyone felt the same life and encouragement that I did. See, because we chose to celebrate each time there was something worthy of celebrating, we discovered that we actually celebrated a lot. And then this helped shape our culture for seeing and celebrating even the small things. I want to ask you this question. How often do you stop to simply appreciate those who have worked hard to make a difference? How often do you actually have a moment of fun together as an organization? A healthy culture should work hard and play hard. Maybe some of the dysfunction you see in your organization just comes down to a cloudy vision, a passionless mission, and a lack of employed values. Maybe it's time to reassess your vision, your mission, and your values. Maybe it's time to communicate and to communicate often. Maybe it's time to start celebrating. I know this. If you can shape the culture from within, you can revolutionize your whole organization. And I would love to help you. I spend time with organizations just like yours doing exactly what we have discussed today. And if you're an employee, send your boss or manager this content. Let them know that you want to better your company culture. You can use the link below in the show notes to schedule a free 15-minute personal consultation with me just to see how I can help you and your team upgrade your company culture. And again, if this added value to you, will you please take a moment just to like, subscribe, share, leave a review. This helps to ensure we can reach as many people as possible. Don't forget, you can also interact with the podcast through all of the social media channels listed in the show notes. I want to say thanks again for being a part of the Mind Your Business podcast, the podcast for whatever business is on your mind. Go change the culture, and we'll see you on the next one.